We are bored. We're all bored now. But has it ever occurred to you, Wally, that the process that creates this boredom that we see in the world now may very well be a self-perpetuating, unconscious form of brainwashing created by a world totalitarian government based on money, and that all of this is much more dangerous than one thinks? And it's not just a question of individual survival, Wally, but that somebody who's bored is asleep, and somebody who's asleep will not say no?
Welcome to the Ellory Wells Show. I'm your host, Ellory Wells, and this is a clip from a movie called My Dinner with Andre. I saw it pop up on Facebook. It's from the 1980s, I believe. And I want to share this clip with you because over the last few weeks, we've talked a lot about creating this culture of entrepreneurship and how I believe it's the only way that we can take ownership of ourselves, of our results, of our future, and not to get hokey, but, you know, how we want the world to progress over the course of our lifetime. And I watched this clip, the one that I'm about to play back for you to listen. I just want you to think about it, and we'll come back here in about a minute and a half. Welcome to the show.
See, I keep meeting these people. I mean, just a few days ago, I met this man whom I greatly admire. He's a Swedish physicist, Gustav Bjornstrand, and he told me that he no longer watches television, he doesn't read newspapers, and he doesn't read magazines. He's completely cut them out of his life because he really does feel that we're living in some kind of Orwellian nightmare now, and that everything that you hear now contributes to turning you into a robot. When I was at Findhorn, I met this extraordinary English tree expert who had devoted his life to saving trees. He just got back from Washington, lobbying to save the redwoods. He's 84 years old. He always travels with a backpack because he never knows where he's going to be tomorrow. And when I met him at Findhorn, he said to me, "Where are you from?" And I said, "New York." He said, "New York, yes, that's a very interesting place. Do you know a lot of New Yorkers who keep talking about the fact that they want to leave but never do?" And I said, "Oh, yes." And he said, "Why do you think they don't leave?" I gave him different banal theories. He said, "Oh, I don't think it's that way at all." He said, "I think that New York is the new model for the new concentration camp, where the camp has been built by the inmates themselves, and the inmates are the guards, and they have this pride in this thing they've built. They've built their own prison, and so they exist in a state of schizophrenia, where they are both guards and prisoners, and as a result, they no longer have, having been lobotomized, the capacity to leave the prison they've made, or to even see it as a prison." And then he went into his pocket and he took out a seed for a tree and he said, "This is a pine tree." He put it in my hand and he said, "Escape before it's too late." See, actually for 2 or 3 years now, Chiquita and I have had this very unpleasant feeling that we really should get out. And we really should feel like Jews in Germany in the late 30s. Get out of here. Of course, the problem is where to go, because it seems quite obvious that the whole world is going in the same direction. See, I think it's quite possible that the 1960s represented the last burst of the human being before he was extinguished, and that this is the beginning of the rest of the future now, and that from now on there'll simply be all these robots walking around, feeling nothing, thinking nothing, and there'll be nobody left almost to remind them that there once was a species called a human being, with feelings and thoughts, and that history and memory are right now being erased, and soon nobody will really remember that life existed on the planet.
Hi, and welcome to the Ellory Wells Show, where real entrepreneurs talk about real problems and real goals and real solutions to help you start, build, and grow your business. I'm your host, Ellory Wells. Welcome to the show. Hey, so what did you think about that? Especially the part about the New York. I've only been through New York once. We drove through. I was like 15, and I think it was like either really early in the morning or late in the evening, and I don't remember a whole lot about it. But what do you think about New York and the analogy that this guy Andre in the clip talked about? And does it apply to where we are in life? Now, I try to avoid these big philosophical questions, and I want to specifically avoid them in the context of the podcast because they don't necessarily move the needle, but there is something to think about when we ask the question, are we living in a prison that we have created for ourselves? We talked about this in one of the episodes of the Empowered Podcast, my previous show, about how most people are not happy at work. How something like 75% of people don't like what they do. They don't like the company they work for, the boss that they work for. And they were like me, comfortably miserable. And I've shared this story before of this dog that's laying on a nail out on the front porch, and why the dog doesn't get up and move. He's sitting there whimpering. And the owner of the dog tells his friend, well, he's just not that miserable yet. And how many of you, let me rephrase, does that apply to you? I mean, we have this ability to change our lives. We know we are miserable where we are. And we know that we don't want to end up at the result of the path we're on. We see the result, or what we think of the result, yet we are living in this prison that we have created for ourselves, and we are unwilling to do anything about it. I'm not saying that's you. And if I were, I would be throwing myself, from a few years ago anyway, I'd be throwing myself in the exact same spotlight that I would be putting you on. So I'm not saying that, but it's worth the question, or worth asking the question of, are we getting the results that we want to get? I don't know. Anyway, that's not exactly what I had set out for this episode to be about. So let me go into another piece of media that I want to share with you. If you're not following me on Snapchat, I'd really love it if you did. They're not vanity numbers. I don't go around showing people like, hey, I've got so many followers on Snapchat. But if you use the app, or you've been thinking about using the app, go and swipe down, add Ellory Wells to your people that you follow, and see what kind of information that I'm sharing, because it's usually behind the scenes. I share a couple wins like I did today. A couple days ago, I shared about how a system worked with emails and follow-up. But what I want to play for you right now is a series of snaps that I did regarding sales funnels and email marketing, because I was sitting here writing an email to my list of subscribers, and I got an email that told me I had made money. And we're not talking about hundreds or thousands or millions of dollars or definitely not any of that. We're talking about small amounts of money, but these small amounts of money repeated over time add up to large amounts of money, or even at medium amounts of money they would give you if you did this in your business. If you implemented what I'm talking about, or what I'm about to share with you, you could implement these in your business, and all of a sudden you could have a significant amount of money or coming in every month that would allow you to go on vacations more, buy the things that you want to, or eventually quit the job that you are miserable at, if that's you, and do something crazy, or do something fun, or travel the world because you've got passive income coming in. So let me cue up this audio clip. It's about 7 minutes long. We're gonna put it in here. It's from a series of Snapchats that I did, and I hope you enjoy. Hey guys, good morning. I don't know, have I snapped today? I don't even know. I just shared on Facebook and Twitter. I didn't do anything on Instagram yet, but I wanted to share how my email marketing sales funnel worked. It made me real money this morning. So when you're talking about passive income, I'm sitting here in my kitchen, refrigerator, all that, and I'm working on an email to my list of subscribers, and I got an email, and it said, hey, it said a new user has been registered. And I won't share his name, but a new guy, I think it was Kevin. Maybe I will share his name. I don't remember his name. Well, we'll call him Kevin. I don't think that was actually his name. And Kevin signed up for my membership site. He took advantage of a tripwire. My phone battery is about to die. My screen dimmed. It got dark and everything. I'll be back. Okay, the phone is charging, and sorry about that. Let's get back to it. So email and these sales funnels are meant to weed people out. You put everybody into it, and at the end you get one result. So the way that I do this is through an automation and active campaign. Let me pull it up here, and I will show you what that looks like. So right here we've got an automation series. For everybody watching on Snapchat, you can see this. For the podcast, let me describe it real quick. So up here at the top, when someone subscribes to my email list, they are added to this. And here's one of several kind of if-then statements right here. If they've already been through this automation, they're tagged, and if they are, they are done. They're spit out. They end here. But if they haven't been through this, they go through these next steps, and they get all of these tags added, and so I can understand where people are, what they're interested in, why they joined my list, and these are a couple of the tags that they get added. And there's also this other automation. Let me pull that one up here. It's for my membership site. And I think it's this one right here, engagement for the membership. Let me see. Oh yeah, one more thing. That's it. So you can see 2 hours right here, 2 hours after somebody signs up, and they've gotten their download, what they wanted, and my first indoctrination email. Hey, look out, I'm going to send you some more emails. 2 hours after that, you get this email. There's kind of a thumbnail of it right there. It says, oh yeah, one more thing. But before I tell you what that is, I got to describe one thing real quick. When you first sign up for my email list, and you click through the confirmation email, you're taken to a specific page. The only way to get to that page is by A, subscribing, and B, confirming your email. And on that page, it says, hey, I've got a special offer for you. You get to save something like 90% off of my membership site. And then there's a button to click here, and that takes you to a special site on my membership site where you get 3 whole months. That's like $125 worth of stuff for just $7. So I don't know, that's like 90-something% off. But that's called a tripwire. So that tripwire is meant to be something ridiculously awesome, some fantastic value that trips you up. It's a low price that no sane person could possibly ignore. So 2 hours after you sign up, you get that email that I just showed you, the one that's the subject line, oh, hey, one more thing I forgot to mention. And what that email says is something to the effect of, hey, I know I mentioned this before, but I wanted to make really, really sure that you saw it. And here is your very last and final chance to get this 3 months for only $7. Click here, and that button's in the email. And just so that you see here, there's the date. It was today, Thursday, April 14th at 9:30 a.m. I got a $7 payment I've covered. And one last thing before the recap, this guy signed up for my email list, I think the first time 4 days ago. He's been on my email list almost a week before he decided to take any sort of action. So here's how it works. Here is the high-level overview, quick snippet of how the sales funnel works. You can go to ellorywells.com/toolbox and see this. You go there, you click on this, and you enter your name and your email. Behind the scenes, you get added to a couple automations, and after you sign up, you get an email that looks like that. If you open and click that email, you'll get taken to a page that looks something sort of like this, or maybe one that looks like this. And if you decide to take me up on the offer, you will get 3 months. See, it's there, $34 a month. You get all of that for just $7. I'm going into all of this detail, so I hope it will show you 2 things. The first one, that it works, that you can make passive income, you can make money while you're typing emails and drinking coffee in your kitchen. And the other thing that I want you to really know is that I'm not an expert at this. I didn't know anything about this just a few years ago. So, you can do all of this, and I would love to help you. I would love to teach you. I've got masterminds starting several times a year. I can do one-on-one coaching. If you want to take your offline business, turn it into something with online. There's a variety of ways that I can help people. I have part of my business is also done for you services, so we can do that as well. Or like a lot of people, if you are the DIY type, you want to do it yourself, you want to get in there and get your hands dirty, you can always find, maybe not always this detailed about information, but by going to ElloryWells.com. And since this series of snaps is going to probably come to, I don't know, a few minutes long, I'm going to download this and put it on a podcast episode too. So if you are listening, or if you want to listen to the Ellory Wells Show, I'd love you to go to ElloryWells.com/show. But it is almost 11, it's 10:56, and I have a mastermind call starting in 4 minutes. So I gotta go. Have an awesome day. And now for a segment I like to call, Man, This is a Business. Okay, so one of the biggest things, and especially relevant to this episode, or this show number 3, is about email marketing. All email marketing hinges on your ability as a business owner, a blogger, podcaster, whatever. If you are using a tool like MailChimp, Aweber, Infusionsoft, ActiveCampaign, whatever, all of your email efforts hinge on one thing. It's the keystone. If you remove it, everything falls apart and it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter. Nothing will happen if, and what that keystone is your ability to get in the inbox. Is your ability to get your emails into the inbox of the people that you are sending that email to so that they can read it. And a few years ago, Gmail implemented their, I don't know what you'd call it, their tagging system, or their tabs, the Gmail tabs. You know, it shows you promotion items, it shows you updates or whatever. And that changed, is a monumental shift in how people who are sending out these emails to lists do their emails. And it is now, more than ever, harder and harder to get emails into someone's inbox and then therefore have them read it. But I will tell you, before I go into anything else, I will tell you, however, that email is still the best way to interact with an audience. You may be able to communicate your message on social media. I mean, I just showed you an example about how I'm communicating an incredible amount of value through Snapchat in just 10-second segments. By the way, go follow me on Snapchat. Don't forget to do that. But email is still the best way to communicate with people. I mean, I don't know how many, I would assume it's far less than, I mean, it's in the low single digits percentage of people who watch my snaps compared to the number of people who follow me. The same thing applies on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever social platform that you're talking about. And as the title of this segment is, Man, This is a Business, we're going to talk about just briefly some of the ways that you can get your emails into the inbox. I'm going to give you a tool that you can go and look at. Let me make sure that you have this URL so that you can find this tool. Go to ElloryWells.com/show3. No dashes, whatever, just show3. And you can see, you can get a link to this tool I'm about to mention to you. Bookmark it. Every email that I send to my list goes through this process. I use this tool, and that tool is mail-tester.com, mail-tester.com. And it will give you a custom email address to where you can send your email to there, click the, what's my score button or whatever it says. And about 20 seconds later, it will come back with a score out of 0 to 10, 10 being the best, of how likely your email is to get into the inbox. It's a tool that I've been using, for a few weeks now, and I thought it was about time for me to share it with you. And I hope you will. I hope you will take your email deliverability seriously. It sounds technical, it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, it's important. And when I started testing my emails a few weeks ago now, I realized that my email servers with my hosting company were listed on blacklists, and it is the job of the hosting company to go in, whoever owns the servers and IP addresses and all that, it's their job to go into all of these blacklists and request that their server IP address be delisted so more of your emails go through. Now, if you're not sending, a whole lot of emails, it may not be worth looking at, but I would at least send a handful through mail-tester.com. I'd go in there and I'd copy the unique email address, the one-time use email address, and I would use the same email that you plan on sending to me or to a list of your subscribers, whatever, and I'd forward it over that way and see what kind of score you get. Cause I was getting like 7s and I was really mad. So I decided to switch over to Google Apps. And I was kind of frustrated about it, but it's worth it to me to spend the $5 a month to improve email deliverability scores. Now, I'm not going to get into SPF records, DKIM records, which are all of those things that are like digital signatures for your email and all that kind of stuff. But whatever email system you use, if it's Google Apps or whatever, I want you to be testing your email addresses or testing the contents of your email and the server that it comes from. Don't worry, it's not as technical as it sounds. You want a score of at least like a 7.5. I don't think you can really, it's hard to get a 10. It's hard to get over 9, but you want to make sure that you are getting your emails read because that's how you're going to announce new events, sales, new products, weekly podcast episodes, the fact that you've published a new blog post, whatever it is, there is a variety of reasons why you want to make sure your emails are getting read. I mean, why type them? Why type an email if it's not going to get read? So I wanted to share that with you. It is a tool that I have been using exclusively. I don't know, maybe if I get some feedback or some comments from listeners like you who are curious as to why I switched to Google Apps instead of using something else like an Outlook or a Zoho or just saying with my email server, let me know, shoot me an email. And if enough people ask me about it, I'll do a podcast episode about it, or at least do a segment kind of like this one about, this is a business because it's valuable. And the whole point of me doing this show is to help entrepreneurs move the needle, to get better results, improve the results that they're getting so they can grow their businesses and make a difference. So that's mail-tester.com. If you want to see the links for this episode and all of the other things that we've talked about, head over to ellorywells.com/show. And lastly, before we wrap up, I want to make sure that you know a new URL that is available for you to listen. If you are one of the millions of people that is using Google Play Music, I've got some cool news for you. You can now go to ellorywells.com/Google Play, and you can find all of the episodes of the show on your Android device in an app natively pre-installed on your phone. And you can listen right there. It's pretty freaking cool to be able to go into the Google Play Music Store. So let me make sure that's clear. It's the Google Play Music Store and be able to see my name right there in Google. So I've shortened the link. That's the pretty link. You can go to ellorywells.com/Google Play. You can also go to /Stitcher and /iTunes if you're sitting there at your computer. If you would just want to remember what those links are, /iTunes and /Stitcher. If you want to find my show on those platforms, if you're listening on my site, that is fine too. That's not going to change. But I want to make sure that you knew that as well. If you have a question that you would like me to answer on the Ellory Wells Show, like Joe Pardo did about social media, go to ellorywells.com/show, and all of the links that you need are there. Again, this specific episode that you're listening to right now, go to /show3. You'll find all the links to everything else. If you have feedback for the show, I mean, we're 3 episodes in. This has been something a long time coming. I'm getting good feedback. I'm getting great email feedback. I'm already getting requests for people to be on the show. I think I've gotten a new membership sign up. I've got a new mastermind application. So the feedback has been pretty incredible, and I'm honored that listeners like you, hopefully you too, listeners like you are giving some amazing feedback. Shoot me an email, Ellory@ElloryWells.com. Told me you listened to this episode number 3, so I know which one you listened to, or at least have some context for the conversation, and I'd love to hear from you. Here's a quick note from our show sponsor. Check it out, and I'll be right back to wrap up the show. Every minute that you spend working on your website, working on your email list, or tinkering with things that are not in front of a customer is a minute you're not doing the things that only you can do, and that's being in front of customers and making sales to grow your business. Instead of messing with all of the things that go on behind the scenes, why not let the professionals build your website, maintain your website, create sales funnels that convert visitors to customers, and handle all of the other things behind your business so that you can go out there and do the things that only you can do, and that's be you. At WYSIWYD Media, our Website in a Box is a worry-free website management system where you let the professionals do what the professionals do, and you handle the things that you are wonderful at. If you want to check out our service, head to ElloryWells.com/box. Okay, guys, that wraps it up for today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening and being a part of the community that we are building together. As I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, I really want us to create a culture of entrepreneurship so we can think collaboration instead of just about competition, and we can all succeed and achieve the things that we want to achieve and live the lives that we want to live. As corny as it sounds, it's true. I believe it, and I believe it is something that we can achieve together. If you haven't already, head over to iTunes, search for The Ellory Wells Show. Leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you think, or shoot me an email. I'd love to hear from you, get your thoughts on how the show is going. I'm your host, Ellory Wells. Have an awesome day.